Hello friends, welcome to this video. Today I have quite a different video planned for you today, but something has happened in my life and I just can't not talk to you about it. So here we go. Today we're going to review the 2024 redesigns for the D&D Dungeons & Dragons Dragons. Don't worry if you don't know anything about Dungeons & Dragons. I myself know very, very little about it. I've only played a couple of times and very casually at that. Really, I just wanted to come on here and talk about some cool dragon designs and my opinions on them. And of course, if you do know a lot about D&D and you have very, invested opinions, please share them. All in all, I'm just a girl who really likes dragons and wants to talk about dragons, and the people that I know in real life really don't want to talk about dragons, so here I am. I'm talking to you about them. And without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so I first found out that Dungeons & Dragons was going to redesign their dragons a couple of months ago, and the first dragon that I saw them release was the gold dragon, which looks like this. And of course, I'll show the old design, which looks like this. And that got me super hyped because I had also recently redesigned the gold dragon and mine looked like this. Obviously, you can see a little, a bit of a scale difference, but I thought it was really cool how my idea was to turn the tentacles of the gold dragon into whiskers and go with a more cat-like vibe, and they really leaned into that idea in the actual new design for the gold dragon. Also, disclaimer, I'm only using images of the new dragon designs that actually appear really easily on Google. I actually do have access to the PDF that gives you all of the new designs in high quality, but I don't want to get copyright claimed for those images, and it's probably wrong to share them in the first place. So we're just gonna go with publicly available images. Anyway, I really liked the new gold dragon design. It looks very big cat. And one thing I noticed, all of the old dragon designs look very dragony, if that makes sense. Hopefully you'll be able to see it in the following dragons that I show. But they also all look quite similar, except the gold dragon did look quite different, and I would say the black dragon has kind of a unique look as well, but really all the other dragons look standard dragon, and the new designs really push each dragon into looking very unique. Notice also the old dragons generally had very similar body types, whereas the new dragons all have relatively different body types, or at least two different types of body types. You'll see what I mean. Anyway, another reason why I like the new gold dragon design is that it doesn't look like an old man like the old dragon. I'm sorry, I'm a girly girl when it comes to my dragons, I guess. I like them to look pretty. And the new gold dragon looks really pretty. Obviously, leaning into the leonine look, king of the beasts, king of the dragons, I guess. It kind of makes sense if you're going for something regal to go into a lion-like look. Also, they made the silhouette of the gold dragon into something that looks like a sword, which I have to admit is pretty cool. Now, I became very excited about the new 2024 dragon designs, but at the time, no new ones were out, so I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. But then I looked again just recently, and all of the new designs are either fully released or pages have been leaked. So we actually get to see all of them. And that brings us to the next dragon, the black dragon. And comparison to the old dragon, which looked like this, and comparison to my version, which, it looked pretty different. They definitely leaned into the skeletal theme, whereas I decided to go into a Triceratops direction for some reason. But, that's art for you. I have to say, I also absolutely love this design. I think it took what was really special about the original or the previous design and made it it emphasized it even. So the previous design definitely had that skull aspect, but they brought this skeletal effect to the coloring of the face, to the spines, even as well as to the body shape. I think I think the vibe remained the same, but like emphasized, and I think the new design is really, really cool. My only tiny nitpick is that I personally don't like the bulk of the horns and feel they look a little bit out of place on a very skeletal and scrawny, almost looking dragon. But I have to say, the old horns were also like flamboyant and important and big. So it makes sense that they would keep them big. All right, the next dragon we're going to go through is the red dragon, which I have been informed is really the king of the chromatic dragons. I heard from a YouTube comment. So if that's not true, let me know. But yeah, they're pretty important. And I know that they are in Baldur's Gate 3, even though I'm still in Act 1, I at least have seen the red dragons. All right, so here is the new design for the red dragon compared with the old. And I feel like the old design kind of really had a little bit of that like bat-like. They also look very classic dragon. When you think of a dragon, kind of the stereotype that comes to mind really does look a lot like the red dragon. And the new design is actually a little bit different. So the old red dragon is very classic dragon. The new design definitely kind of leans into this almost devilish aspect. I mean, the thing has like a goatee, and instead of a like bat like nose horn situation, it looks more like a regular horn, almost like triceratopsy. This one, again, coming from someone who's not like super into the D&D scene, I can see how this one could potentially be controversial. I think they went in like a different direction for this design, being more devilish than the original design was, and the vibes are potentially a little bit different. People might not like, but I personally enjoy the design. I like how it kind of gives more of a personality, just plain the design itself. Again, like I don't have a lot of history with D&D, but yeah, I'm really interested to see what you guys think of this design. The next one I'll do is, it makes me a little sad. The next one I'll do is the silver. Okay, so this one comes with a little backstory. Silver Dragon was my favorite dragon when I was little. It used to look like this. And it was kind of the only quote unquote good dragon, the metallic dragons, that I thought looked extremely, extremely cool. And part of that is it does look very much like a generic dragon. So I understand that's, why they would maybe want to go away from that. But I am personally a little bit heartbroken with the new design. I'm not a fan of the bulkiness of the face. I very much liked that the ornamentation in the original was made of frills. And it looks more like horns in the new one. The design reminds me personally more of a sailfish than a dragon. And I also think that it looks like a car, not a dragon. Now, don't take this too seriously. These are just the words of someone who really, really, really liked the old design. So I'm biased against the new design. But yeah, this is the only one that I was actually pretty disappointed with, and I personally would have gone a different direction. Like I said, away from the fish look, and the bulkiness of the face isn't necessarily my style, which if you've seen any of my other dragons, you kind of already know that. I do, however, enjoy that it does have like long legs and a short body. I might be biased though, because that is the body type of my sweet little gremlin, Indy. This boy has legs for days, and I like that part of the silver dragon design because it reminds me of my dog. But other than that, I mean, I like how high chrome the like finished art piece is, but yeah, no, I'm not super impressed. Next, we'll talk about the white dragon, which hasn't, I think, officially been released yet, but there are leaked images on Google, so we can look at those images from Google. I think this design is extremely successful. It's reminiscent of a polar bear, and I would say it looks a lot fiercer than the old design, which is shown here. Like, the old design to me kind of looks like an old sickly man, and the new design looks like something that could actually, mess you up in a fight. I also love how the spines kind of almost look like fur, which again, kind of goes into that polar bear side. I love the bulk of its body. It would make sense for a creature that is it has to keep warm. It should have more bulk than a creature that doesn't need as much insulation, if that makes sense. I actually don't know what the tail looks like. I haven't seen images that include the tail, but I wonder if it's like bushy at the end almost with like spines. I feel like that would like make sense in terms of balancing the shape, but who knows? I don't know. I noticed that all the new designs also have very unique tails, and they do tend to be a little more bulky at the end. So that would kind of just make sense to me if there was like a cluster of spines at the end of the tail, making it into like a bulky shape. All right, next up we'll talk about the bronze dragon, which I also think I personally like it a lot. I like the pops of color, and I think that the new design also makes it look like a fish, which, I have pet peeves with. It reminds me of a lionfish a lot, actually, except for the colors, more like the shapes of the fins around the head. But like, I don't know, this dragon, along with all of the new dragons, it has like a vibe to it. It's clear it has like a personality to it, and I think I was watching something that mentioned that they like conceptualized all of the dragons as if they were almost different characters. And I feel like the designs do reflect that. The designs seem to have like a lot of personality to them, in my opinion. I also like how they are all, in addition to being recognizable by color, quite recognizable by silhouette, more than they were in the past. So yeah, I can also see this one being, some people might be a little bit upset with the change because this was another one of the dragons that did look very dragony before, and now it doesn't necessarily look as dragony. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this one as well. Okay, next, one of my favorites of the new designs, the green dragon. Like I mentioned before, I think this new design has a lot more like personality to it, and it has that very like jungly vibe, whereas the other one, was a little bit more generic dragon. And in the like actual PDF of the dragons, it shows that the green dragons actually have, I believe they're called chromatophores, which help them change color in certain spots. And they have aposematic coloration when they're younger as well. These are like biological concepts that I really like that they are applying to the dragons. I haven't been able to find a really good picture of the front view that's just like readily available on Google. But in the front view, it's very like Cobra-esque. They really leaned into the serpent vibe with the green dragon, which in my opinion, of all of the dragons in the chromatic side, that would be the one to do it on. It seems like it fits the vibe because of the poisonous gas. That is their breath weapon. The only other chromatic dragon that body plan makes any sense at all with would be the black, but the black is so obvious, like you go skeletal, you have to keep the vibe of that dragon skeletal. So the green is the way to go. If you're going for making any of them serpent-like, it makes sense to me. Now the copper, actually, I don't have a ton of strong feelings about this one. I think the new design really does fit with the other new dragon designs, but this one doesn't seem to have that like special sauce for me. Thought the old design face looked a little bit weird, but I think the new design face also looks a little bit weird. I like crocodilian almost. It's hard to describe. It looks very reptilian though, which is like probably good. I also thought it was really interesting that, very similar to the bronze dragon, they added a lot of blue accents to the copper, which I would think if you wanted to make the dragons unique characters, you wouldn't give them similar accent colors. At least the silhouette is extremely different, which is good. And it actually kind of has a different body type from a lot of the other dragons. It's a lot more low to the ground, and I think it's cool that it's unique. But other than that, this design was, I didn't have as strong of a reaction to it, which is totally fine. I think the art is amazing as always, though. Okay, next dragon is the blue dragon, and I'm actually extremely excited to talk about this one. Now, I would say the old dragon design, shown here, was actually one of the most unique of the old dragon designs. So that makes the switch kind of interesting to talk about. The old design was already unique. They did keep that horn on the nose. I think the old design had so much personality to it, and the new design has the same amount of personality as the other designs. So it's an interesting place to be when thinking about this design. It seems a lot more sleek to me. Also notice that the wing anatomy appears to be slightly different from all of the other dragons for some reason, where the wing connects almost in front of the forelegs, whereas in most of the other dragons, it's behind the forelegs. I think actually in order to make like a real decision on the new design, I would need to see that dragon with like a facial expression, because the other blue dragon, like the old blue dragon images that I've seen, the blue dragon has this like expression to its face that's like, I don't know, amused by suffering or something like that. And it's like impeding my ability to decide whether or not I like the new design better. I know I like it, but whether I like it more or not, I actually don't know. All right, the next and final dragon is the brass dragon. So this is like the only image I could find on Google of the brass dragon, and this appears to be a leaked image instead of like a full release image, but either way, I'm impressed. So here's what the old brass dragon looked like, and I'm so glad they kept this very unique like horn and face shape structure, except they emphasized it. They also really distinguished it from the bronze dragon by having the bronze dragon have these blue accents and this dragon having the orange accents. I think that was a very good choice. I love the lion-like face. It's not as feline looking as the gold, but it's definitely there, I would say. I was wondering about that for a minute because it seems like it would be too similar to the gold, but then I double checked and the gold has a much longer face than the brass. So I would say that, and the fact that it does look a lot less feline, it just looks slightly feline. Who knows? Maybe I'm crazy and it doesn't look feline to anyone else but me. But yeah, anyway, I really liked this one. It kind of reminds me of what they did with the black, where they took the original design from years ago and they just emphasized it in a cool way, in my opinion. All right, so here is another run through of the new designs. Please let me know what you think of these. Overall, I have a very positive opinion. I'm probably going to be drawing these dragons for practice and hopefully redesigning them with my own twist. But I really think that if anyone is interested in learning how to draw dragons, these are very good designs to learn from. I would say one of the best things about these new dragons is their anatomy looks extremely believable to me, and I think that's very important when designing a dragon and drawing dragons in general. It also gives you a good look at what believable anatomy on different dragon body types looks like. You can really tell that this artist is a master of his craft. Alexander Ostrowski and the whole design team, I believe, did a very wonderful job redesigning these dragons. Like I said, I'd love to know your opinions, and thank you for watching this video. I hope you are having a great day, and I'll see you around.